Hello and welcome to our kitchen. I have a craving for cheesecake, more specifically lemon cheesecake, and even more specifically than that, the most basic recipe that I think I learned back in year 8. Of course, back then you had to bring in your own tea towel, apron, and I think oven mitt, and if you didn't have those three things, you had to sit the class out. And because I was so unorganized with laundry, I often sat classes out, which was rather depressing, but I do remember making sure I had everything that I needed for the lemon cheesecake. I've always liked lemon cheesecake. Well, just cheesecake in general. And I've come across people who don't like cheesecake, and I find that quite confusing. It's like people who don't like dogs or cats or anything. I also came across someone recently who didn't like trifle. So, a bit of tension in the friendship there. And we have a visitor, boys and girls. Who is in our kitchen today? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one, the only, Arthur Mann. Say hello, Arthur. Welcome to our kitchen.
Am I on the television?
You're on the telly box. Now, you don't like cheesecake, do you?
Well, it depends what flavours you put on it. I don't mind something a bit cheesy.
Mm-hmm. As long as the man's had a wash.
That's rude.
It's disgusting. But what about, oh, cigarettes? We don't smoke. We don't smoke. What about lemon cheesecake?
I like lemons.
Yes.
You know what they say? If the world throws you lemons, make gin and tonic.
Arthur only drinks gin and tonic on days ending in a Y.
Part of my anti-coronavirus strategy.
You haven't had your gin today yet, and it's already 1:15 in the afternoon. Oh, he's been driving. Well, you can relax now.
Well, I need to maybe go to John Lewis, but I'll do that tomorrow.
What are you doing in John? What do you need from John Lewis? Oh, Tanqueray.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're not sponsored. Anyway, back to the cheesecake.
Charles Tanqueray and Co.
That's the sound of my husband.
The sound of happiness. No?
Well, you are the commercial break. You have to sing something.
Mile green.
You like your jingles.
Very liquid. But that's different to the word jingoistic.
What?
Jingoistic. Which means you're just going with the public mood. Pandering to the bad people.
Well, I shall get my ingredients out. So for this recipe, you will need 100 grams of digestive biscuits, 40 grams of butter, 250 grams of cream cheese, 280 mils of double cream, 100 grams of caster sugar, the zest of 2½ lemons, and 5 teaspoons of lemon juice. So the first thing I'm going to do is just very quickly zap the 40 grams of butter. Just 20 seconds, and then check. Maybe it just needed 15 seconds. I'm just going to pour that into my small mixing bowl. Then I'm going to crush my digestive biscuits. This, of course, is for the base. There are many ways you can crush these bad boys. Of course, you can use a food processor, blender, but I quite like using a pestle and mortar. I just find it's less to clean up, depending on how messy I get. Fun fact: the shop I cut hair in, Ruffians, on Queensferry Street in Edinburgh, is the original offices for McVitie's, which make the digestive biscuits. We learnt this on the first 6 months we were open, when this boy came in who was studying the history of wheat. So I'll put like 3 of these in, crush them up. Scrape it out, make sure you have a good hold on it, you don't want to drop it. Just do these in batches. I mean, that's 4 there. So to get away with just doing that. Another way you can crush it, obviously, is you can wrap it in like cling film and then put a tea towel, then wrap that in a tea towel and then you know, crush it with your palms or use a rolling pin. Anyway, you can even use your hands. I wonder what this would be like if I put a little bit of chili powder in the base. I won't, but that could be quite nice. Just like maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon of chili powder in the base. Lemon cheesecake with a bit of chili. Ooh, maybe that would work better for like a chocolate cheesecake and having a little chili in the base. Chocolate and chili, I think, always go well together. Next time. I'm not going to come around and handy cam this. So you just give that a nice mix. You can also use the back of the spoon to break up any of the bigger pieces you perhaps missed. You keep going until it all looks a bit darker because the butter is absorbing into the biscuit. I think that looks good. Oh, bigger chunk. Now this recipe serves 8 people and usually is done in like an 18 centimeter diameter spring lock. Is that what we call them? Spring lock baking tin. But because I'm giving 2 of these to my fabulous neighbors, and we've got a friend moving in tomorrow, so you know, she'll be here. I'm going to make these in these just like little tumblers. 6 of them. Another tip as well is if you have glassware that you use infrequently but you still use them, maybe like once every 6 months or so, whatever, I wash them obviously when I'm done, and then when I put them back on the shelves I put cling film on it, because do you know how like when things are sitting there for a while and if you're cooking in the space it gets that kind of sticky, greasy, dusty residue. Well, the cling film just kind of means you can take it off and use it there and then. I don't really cook as much as I cook, you know, for lunches and dinners and stuff like that, but obviously since COVID-19 I haven't really hosted many meals and dinners and stuff, which is a shame because I really like having people around. But soon people, soon. And you can make them the most basic lemon cheesecake. Right. I was born to run, I don't belong to anyone. It's a nice composition there. It's all about the look, guys. I have to divide this into 6. So I'll just put a heaped teaspoon in each one and then kind of work my way around. This might be a lot of biscuit base, but can you have too much biscuit base, we ask ourselves. I don't think you can. Now, I thought of this last night. I'm going to use this thing here. It's used for cocktails. I forget what it's called, isn't that terrible? But you use it like when you're making mojitos and stuff to kind of mush up the mint or lime or whatever, you know, for cocktails. So I'm going to use this to see if it works to kind of compact my base. Oh, it's working! How exciting! Just little taps there. Yes. How cute! So now I'm just going to pop these in the fridge while I make the filling. It's supposed to be an hour, but I can't really see how that mixing all that together is going to take an hour, but we'll see. Right, try. I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at cleaning up as I go along, but do try. And if I wasn't recording, I would stack the dishwasher, but you don't want to see that. Now we whip the double cream until little peaks form. Ooh. Remember that song Cream by Prince? That was good. That was a good song. I personally like to whip cream by hand. Why? I don't know. I think when I use a machine, I tend to over whip it. So I really should have an apron on here, but get that wrist action going. Just when you think it's going to take forever to whip, it does start to thicken at the end of the whisk. You can feel it. You can see that getting thicker already. This is the bit I'm talking about. So see how that's slowing down there. So just wanting some soft peaks here. I mean, I think that looks pretty good. Yes. Whew. Whipping does take out energy. So now to our whipped cream, we add everything else. We add our cream cheese. We add our caster sugar. Our lemon zest from 2.5 lemons, very specific there. Don't want to go overboard. Lemon zest is a very strong thing. And then our 5 teaspoons of lemon juice. So now just mix that all together until it's well combined. And keep mixing until the sugar sort of dissolves a little more. I'm going to move on from a whisker to just a stirring spoon, just to fold, because I don't want to over whip the cream. See, no way that could feed 8 people. I mean, I could eat that myself. Delicious. So now, obviously, we just put our filling into the glasses that have the base in them. They've only been in there for about 10 minutes, so we'll see how this goes. So because we're not using the spring lock tin, I'm going to be using 2 long spoons to get this in here. You can just use 2 regular spoons, whatever. Then push it down before I put the next spoonful in. Don't want air bubbles. So what we want to do now is sort of push it down. Try to make the top a bit more presentable. Just a bit smoother. Some fresh kitchen roll. And you mean it doesn't have to be perfect. You want kind of a rustic look with this. This one's a little less than the others, so this is for someone who's counting calories. Just gonna make some little slices just for the top. Just to decorate. Nothing too fancy. Like little lemon sharks. Gorgeous. It's all about presentation. It's a very basic recipe, so at least make it look good. Alright. I think that's okay. So that's it. Just pop it in the fridge for a couple of hours or overnight, and then tuck in. So that is my most basic Year 8 lemon cheesecake recipe. Hope you enjoy. And that just leaves me down to lick the bowl like a fat bitch. Of course, it'll taste a lot better once it's set firmer in the cups. But this is good.